Welcome to a Business Minute with Lily Lopez, presented by the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Today, I am so honored, privileged. I mean, there are no words to express how grateful I am to have in my show, Mr. Gibson Sylvestre. Gibson serves as CEO of Triumvirate Holdings, a privately held technology firm that specializes in leveraging web-based learning capabilities. For more than 2 decades, Gibson, who holds an MBA, has informed, inspired, and invigorated audiences from New York to New Delhi, from Bangalore to Barcelona, Sao Paulo to Switzerland, Beijing to Boston, South Africa, South America, and from England to Ecuador. And all in all, I mean, he's had the opportunity to touch the lives of over people in 50 nations around the world. He's a self-made man, I like that, businessman, best-selling author, Fortune 500 business consultant, presidential advisor, and one of the most sought-after keynote speakers in the world. So imagine the honor and the privilege that I have to have this gentleman today on my Business Minute with Lily Lopez. And before I let him speak, I need to say that he's visited with the Prince of Monaco, the King and Queen of Spain. He's met with President Trump, with President Obama. I mean, he's done so much, and he's a young man. So, and he's a friend of Roberto Munoz, who's the one who put us in contact. So Gibson, thank you so very much for your valuable time. I know you're in Las Vegas, you're in a conference, and it's just such an honor and a privilege for me to have you today in the show. But just tell me, where do you get this inspiration and all this energy from?
Well, I always say this: I am who I am because somebody loved me, somebody cared for me, somebody attended to me. I've been so blessed in my life to have a great mother, like you always talk about your father, Lily, a great mother, a great father, many coaches and Sunday school teachers that have invested in me. I always tell Lily, I was a hard-headed boy. My mom used to say, a hard head makes a soft behind.
Well, that's good. I like your mom.
So a lot of people, Sir Isaac Newton once said, he said, if I've seen more than anyone, it's because I've stood on the shoulder of giants. I am so indebted. I am so grateful. I will forever be in the debt of so many people that lifted me up when I had low self-esteem, when I had a learning disability. I had teachers and mentors that came alongside of me and told me that they saw greatness in me. I remember one time receiving a voice message by the great Les Brown, who is the greatest motivational speaker the earth has produced, right? He left a voice message. I was out of the country, and he says this in his big voice. Hey, this is Les Brown. He says, you have greatness within you. And that was so impactful. And we, I always say this, we as people, we are not thinkers that feel, but we are feelers that think. We typically in business and life, and when we're making decisions, we make decisions using our feelings, but we justify it with our logic. And so as in business, I feel like this is something that we can do more of, especially during this pandemic. I was just talking to Lily about how over 500,000 small businesses have gone out of business during this 9-month period. This is a tragedy. This is a travesty. And so this is a passion of Lily with the Chamber of Commerce for South Florida. And this is one of my passions too, because business is the lifeblood of every society and every community, because this is how we fund the schools. This is how we fund different social projects, different foundations. So this is very, very, very important to me. And this is a passion that I've always had. And because I'm international, I have to say Guten Tag to all my German friends. Shalom to all my Israeli friends. My Cubanos in Miami and everywhere. I say, hola, ¿cómo está? To my French people, I say, bonjour. To my Russians, I say, privyet. And to my Jamaicans, I say, wagwan. To my Haitians, I say, sac passe. And then to my Brazilians, I say, oi, como vai? All over the world, welcome.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, I've been meaning to ask you, what of all your experience and your travelings and all the people that you've met, what specific maybe moment, conversation with someone, what has been like the most inspiring moment in your life, something that has really touched your heart very profoundly?
Yeah, I would say one of them that really, really touched my heart was sitting down we were at dinner with Zig Ziglar, who is the number one salesman God ever made on earth. And he was a good friend of mine and a good mentor. We would visit with him in Dallas and his little redhead, Miss Jean. And we're sitting down, and it just dawned on me. The golden rule: do unto others as you wish others
Right.
to do unto you. And Mr. Ziegler looked at me and he says, you can get everything that you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. So as entities, as nonprofit leaders, as business leaders, our number one objective should be to add value. If we add value, if you come into the relationship and says, what can I get? No, no, no.
No, no, no.
Babies, babies come into the world and they're grasping. But when a man dies, his hands are open.
Mhm.
And I feel like this is how we should approach life. We should look at our customers in the way of saying, how can I give?
Exactly.
How can I be of value? How can I give significantly more than they are
You receive.
expecting? Because if you just give what they expect, you're just like an average Joe. You're just like a regular person. But
Absolutely.
if you go above and beyond,
Yeah.
exceedingly and abundantly, and say, this is what I want to do. I want to go above and beyond. People will remember you, and they will become your greatest evangelists. They'll become your greatest salespeople. Your customers will be
Right.
your greatest value and your greatest supporters and your greatest salespeople. They'll tell people, oh, listen, I went to this store, or I hired this attorney, or I hired this consultant, and then other people will start calling you. And it's always, you put the customer first and they will put you first. It always people. And I always say this, no matter what business you're in the people business. Don't forget that.
Don't forget
that. You're not just a lawyer. You're not just a consultant. You're not just a physician. You're not just a businessman. You're not just a salesperson. No, you're in a people business, because everyone you meet is a human. So we can't take that human aspect away from that. We can't take the love out of business. Bring love back to business. Bring kindness back. Everyone says you got to be a shark and you got to attack. No.
No.
Be someone of kindness. Bring kindness back, especially right now in this pandemic. We need kindness. We need more love, because you don't know what that person is going through. That client, they could be on the verge of a divorce. They could be on the verge of layoffs. You don't know what's going on. They could have received a phone call from a bank and say, hey, listen, you're over leveraged. You don't know what's going on. So I'm a big believer in always maintaining those relationships, because you don't know what that person is going to be able to do in the future.
And Gibson, something that I noticed that has happened to me, and I imagine it's happened to you, this pandemic, even though we know it's horrible, we know it's taking the lives of so many people, but in reality, it has made us closer. I mean, I'm a human being that feels a lot. I love a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like to help.
And
I'm warmy, I'm warm, I'm touchy, and I'm grateful to so many people, board members, chairmen, past chairs, that have helped me, that are still helping me. And I feel that I always want to give back. But in this pandemic, I feel that we have gone closer to one another. I feel that people are more human. People have more time for each other. So if something good has come out of this, is that people are not so much individualistic. I see that people are more want to be in groups. People are eager to meet. People are eager to be with you. When before people say, oh, I have to go to that party. Oh, I have to go to that dinner. Oh, I don't want to go. And now people, when is the dinner? When are we getting together? So this has made us, it's like a reset button to realize that we're here, that we're brothers and sisters, that we have to be together because we depend on one another and we have love in our hearts. And that's how I feel. So I imagine you, that we're very similar, our personalities.
Exactly.
You probably agree with me, right?
Very much so. You know, I always say this, social media has made us antisocial, because when you go to dinner, look at people, you see mothers with children, the kids are on the iPads looking down. No one's looking at each other. You see two lovers. I see a beautiful girl and a beautiful guy, and they're not looking at each other. They're not on their phone. I'm like, I'll never forget, there was a Beyonce concert. So Beyonce has the microphone to the girl, okay? This teenage girl. She's a crazy Beyonce fan, okay? So she has the microphone. She holds it up to the girl, and instead of the girl looking at Beyonce right in front of her, the girl is taking her phone. She's not even looking at Beyonce. She's trying to record Beyonce. And Beyonce looks at the girl and says, I'm in front of you. I'm in front of you. Just take the moment in. You're not going to get this moment. Don't look at me through the camera lens. Take the phone down. Look at me, because guess
For
what?
the
You might not
moment.
never get this opportunity again. It's
Exactly.
Beyonce. It's
Exactly.
so I feel like we need to sometimes we're in the information age right now.
Yes, we are.
We consume more information in one day than someone that lived in the 14th century consumed in their entire lifetime.
Life.
Think
Right.
about that.
Right. Right.
One
Right.
day. So what happens is our brains are in information overload.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And once your brain starts to get overload with information, your brain starts to get fuzzy, it gets clogged.
Yes.
And what's
Get
going to happen?
confused.
You're going to miss sales. You're going to start to be very, very, very irritable in your relationships.
Yes.
You're not going to be as sharp as business. And you might, quite frankly, even lose your business because you're not paying
Exactly.
attention to
You're
the
not paying attention.
actual things.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's very
Exactly.
important that you unplug, you know,
Unplug completely. I agree.
in my home, when we're having dinner, the phones, it's no phone zone. Take the phones away. Look me in the eye. How was your day? Talk to me. Be a human. You don't need to
Yes.
always be on your electronic devices.
Exactly. And
Technology is not bad, but how we
no,
use it can
how
be
we
bad.
use it. And Gibson, I tend to say this many times when I'm interviewing the radio, and it's not taking away from how horrible the pandemic has been. But I remember my grandmother and talking about, her neighbor had TB. He was a famous composer, um, Junco, who wrote the song that says, Nosotros que nos queremos tanto, queremos separarnos, no me preguntes más. He said, we love each other, we have to break up, don't ask me why. It's not because I don't love you, he had to because he had TB. So my
Wow.
mother, the neighbor, and they were not scared. I mean, in those days you had TB, you had typhoid fever, you had the measles. They didn't have the vaccine for the measles, the rubella, the German measles. There were so many things, but there wasn't mass media. There wasn't this phone that will tell you continually how many people are dying. Of course, people were dying. They had polio. People were dying. People were getting ill, but we didn't have the mass media, so people carried on their lives. They were not panicky. Her neighbor was this famous composer who she knew would say hello to. I mean, they weren't like everywhere in this day and time. They would even wear masks to just pass, by his house. So you do see the negativity, and we're not taking away how bad the pandemic is, but we saw that our grandparents, great grandparents, they lived like what you were saying now. Even at the time of the plague, I mean, nobody knew because there wasn't any media. Now you get in one day more information than these people got in their whole lifetime. But even going back, like, maybe 100 years ago, we're talking about the Spanish flu that my father, his mom was older when she had him, but she had a lot of kids. So she was 44 and she died of that flu, and he had twin sisters. But all these things, humanity has gone through a lot and they survived. So we will survive too. We do appreciate it if the media would provide, would you agree, some kind information saying, okay, so many people have died, but we have all these other hundreds of thousands of people that have had it and have survived because all the time, and the youngsters, and I see about my daughter, they keep saying, oh, how many people died? Oh, how many people infected? And that creates a problem for everybody, for the young people, even for the people in business, like you're saying. We have to work, we have to do things, and we just can't be paralyzed because of the media.
I have a friend of mine who is a psychologist, and this was one of his prescriptions to one of his patients. He said, no social media, no news consumption.
No news.
Because what happens to people is it breeds a sense of anxiety.
Yes, it does.
People are anxious. Yes. People become
your immune system. That's your immune system.
Yeah, it affects the immune system.
Yes, it does.
Smiling and
being courteous,
taking a walk and saying a kind word to people. People always say these are small things, but in life, it's the small things that make the big difference. It really is. And we can't forget that, we can't forget that. And we have to always stop for that one person.
For that one person.
And that one person we can impact their whole entire lives.
It'll make a difference. Absolutely.
I was coming out of the store recently, and I'll tell this story. So I was inside of a store, and this gentleman, I'm always very observant. This guy was in there, and he he saw there was some nurses, some frontline workers. So what he did with the nurses is he let them skip them. There was like 3 or 4 of them. He said, hey, I'm not that big in a rush. You can go. So when I saw this, it really prompted my heart to say, I said to the guy, I walked back. I was in front of him. I walked back. I said, hey, that was so kind of you. And I want to bless you today. Whatever you're buying today, I'm gonna pay for everything you're purchasing today.
Wow.
And this man just his whole energy just changed. He's like, oh, he's like my whole life, no one has ever done this. So I had him come up in front of me. I paid for everything. And then he looks and there was a long line behind him. He says, everyone in this line, I'm paying for everyone. So he pays for everyone's stuff. Okay, everybody. Because there was probably, I want to say like 8 or 9 people in line. He paid for every one of them. And so then me and him start talking.
That kindness, your kindness, he had money apparently, right?
Exactly.
So your act of kindness was transferred to him, and he said, wow, so I have so much money, let me multiply this. And he paid for those people.
It was a chain reaction.
I love it.
And this is the part that really touched my heart. He did this, and I was blown away by it because I was not expecting this. A woman came up to him, and she says, I'm a single mom. She starts crying. He's there with his wife. She starts crying. She says, you do not know just this act of, she says, I was going up and I didn't know if the card was going to be declined. Right. And you paying for me. She says, this may seem like a small thing for you, but it's a big deal to me. And I got emotional. Everybody got emotional. His wife got emotional. And it just was like a small thing. And that is something I'm sure when she went home to her kids, she had a different attitude. She said, maybe the world is not that bad of a place. And guess what? All of us can do those little things. You're going through a toll. Maybe you say, let me spend an extra $1 and just say, hey, I'm going to give an extra $1. And the person that comes behind me in the toll, I want to pay for this. Or you're at Starbucks and say, you know what? I'm going to just give this extra $5. Yes. And it's not going to break the bank, but
acts of kindness. Yes, right? Acts of kindness.
It changes people's lives.
Completely.
It changes people's lives.
It changes it. Yeah. And Gibson, that before we close the show, because it's not a very long show, that we always collect toys for financially disadvantaged children. And we've been the sole provider for the last 15 years. And the place is called Centro Mater. It's one in Hialeah, Gardens. And these are children that the median family income is $25,000 a year. Wow. So you see me always struggling and trying to get that. But then you see the faces of the little children, and we bring Santa Claus. It's a full day of events. This year, we won't be able to do it. They won't, but we're taking the boxes, leaving the boxes, but we won't be able to bring Santa and have the music like we always done for the last 15 years. But like you say, those acts of kindness, you know what that toy means to those kids that are, these kids, some of them, even like then when you go to the kindergartners, first grade, second grade, they have dinner in an aftercare program that is paid for because the parents can't afford dinner. So imagine when we're there with Santa Claus and we bring the toys. That's one of the nicest days of my life, when you see the smile on the faces of those children. It's just giving is so rewarding.
And speaking of giving, I'm going to give your listeners a treat. So we have a report of that we've done. We have a mastermind group, and I'm going to give this report to them for free of charge. It's called How to Grow Your Business During a Pandemic. It's a very, very innovative study. I like that. And so it has number 1, put people first. Number 2, turning intangibles into tangibles. And I go through a process on how to do that. Know your numbers, strengthen your strengths, and then think outside the box. It shows people how to creativity. If you reach out to us at gibsonsylvestre.com or greatestspeakerintheworld.com, either one of those, you just type in the email there. We will send you that report free of charge. We only give this to our inner circle, our mastermind groups, our business consulting members, that we give this to them. But I love your group so much. I call it your tribe, and with your because listen, over 60% of people that work they get their work from small businesses. It's the lifeblood
Yes,
of
they do.
the American economy. We
Exactly.
have to support the small businesses. We have to fight for them, because we cannot allow more businesses to go out of business, because that's where people get their jobs. That's where
500,000. Like
my
you said,
dad always
500,000 have been lost.
my dad used to always say to me, he said, a job is not just about a job. A job is about dignity. If you
Yes.
have a job, you have a sense of dignity, you have a sense of pride. And so we need to provide that for people, and we need to show them that there's people that care. And if I can give them these strategies and they can, use them and increase and get more customers and increase more sales, and then they can start going out and hiring more people. Listen, that's what it's all about.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Exactly. Oh, it's been such an honor and a pleasure. And I hope to meet you soon.
Yes, we
When
will.
you come to Miami
Happen with Roberta. We'll
with
definitely.
Roberta, we'll make it happen. And want you involved in the chamber, and one day to come
Yes.
speak to
Thank you.
our members
Thank you.
when we.
Thank you.
when
We're
we go-
family now. We're family now, and
Exactly.
I want to have you on my show as well.
Yes, we'll coordinate it.
Yeah,
of course.
definitely.
It's been
Lily?
such an honor. I mean, and we were able to speak, to learn about each other before we started recording the show. And you have an amazing career, and you're someone who I admire. And I just met you, but just reading through the bio and the half hour that we had talking to each other, and just you're an inspiration, and you're full of energy. And I connected immediately with you because we have that.
Yes.
Right, we have that. And someone
I'll
touches
say
me.
this about you, Lily. Lily, you're a hot cup of Cuban coffee. You take one shot of Lily, I'm ready to conquer the world right now. You are
Espresso, an espresso.
yes, you're café con leche.
Café cubano, cortadito.
I like to go to
Versailles.
Versailles. That's one of my favorite places. La Carreta. See, a lot of people don't know about La Carreta. That's good too.
But it's good too. And then you have the cortadito. They give you the cortadito with the evaporated milk. That's the one that I like.
That's what it's all about right there.
That's what it's all about. Yes.
See, you're such a great example for my nieces and my family members, and just a great example of someone that is like Mother Teresa used to say. I want to say I honor you, Lily. Thank you for being a pencil in the hand of God. That's what you are. You're a pencil in the hand of God.
Oh, thank you.
And what you're doing with the scholarships, you're helping out the inner city youth, giving them job opportunities, internships. Dios te bendiga. Ay,
gracias, gracias. Thank you. What an honor, Gibson. And I want to call you, your name is so beautiful. Gibson Sylvestre. It's like two names. Sylvestre is a name, not a last name. It's a beautiful name. I know. So thank you so very much for your time, for being on a Business Minute.
Thank you.
Lily Lopez. And now I'm going to turn it over to Yendi Alvarez for 90 Seconds of Tech.
This is Yendi Alvarez for the first episode of 90 Seconds of Tech in 2021. Yes, we're all ready to turn the page and start living our best lives, but it has to start with taking care of ourselves. Self-care is important to handle anything in life, whether it's a new job, your business, a breakup, new love or children, and more importantly, it's for your mental health. How else are we supposed to serve others if we aren't whole ourselves? Well, thanks to technology, I found a few apps that can help you do just that. The first one is Headspace app, which almost all of Hollywood is raving about, so it must be good. Headspace app provides meditation modules and activities that can help you be more positive and at the same time be more mindful. It helps people stay on track, which pretty much is a requirement if you want to be at peace with yourself, right? The second one is the Grateful app. Now, as humans, we've all been in a place where everything is topsy-turvy and we feel very low and very blue. The one way to get our spirits back up is to remember and realize all the things that make us happy. And that begins by recognizing what we're grateful for. For starters, think about all the things you're grateful for. And think about the people who make your life worthwhile. The Grateful app is a platform that can do just that. The moment you like your thoughts with all the things you're grateful about, you'll be able to stay happy, and this has been proven by scientists at the Harvard Research Center. Finally, the Sleep app. We know 8 to 9 hours of sleep is required in order to be able to have a productive and happy day. But really, who has that luxury? Who has 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night? With the help of the Sleep app, you can now track your sleep regimens. And based on your sleeping habits, this app can prompt you with activities that can help get you better sleep with ease. With the new year upon us, I'm more committed to serve my community, grow my business, and live with more profound love for everything. What's your commitment this year? For 90 Seconds of Tech, this is Yendi, reminding you that today is a good day to take your head out of the sand, dust your ears off, because God's telling you everything you want is right in front of you. You just have to fight for it.